Welcome, everyone, to Trojan Conquest Live 21. You guys asked for it, and here he is, USC. By popular demand, USC J coming back to visit us. This week, has USC hit a recruiting slump? Did we learn anything from the Pac-12 Media Days? These topics and much, much more coming up next. Welcome back, everyone, to Trojan Conquest Live. Again, like I said, special guest co-host today, USC J. Right now, Rick is out of the country, so I brought in someone who's, again, a friend of the show and someone I really admire their work as a little gift to all of you guys, because last time we did something together, everybody was in my comments saying, make it happen again. So thank you guys coming back to Trojan Conquest. We know you're going to have plenty of choices out there on a Sunday afternoon. Really, really grateful you chose to take the time to spend it with us. This week, we're going to be talking again about the Pac-12. We had some recruiting news, some bad news, but we're going to go into that a little bit later. But the big news this week was the Pac-12 Media Days. So we'll go in, we'll talk about some of the quotes from that, some really good events. Lincoln Riley has some great stuff for us. But let's stop. So, Jay, how you doing? By the way, thank you so much for coming on such short notice.
Tim, my man, what's the word, man? Good to be back on here, man. Thank you for having me on once again, man.
Yeah, you know you're always welcome. You know I'm a big fan of your show. You guys, if you aren't checking out USC J, where have you been? Are you under a rock? Because he's got one of the most thriving USC channels. He does live shows. He does videos. He's up to date with all of his recruiting. Make sure you're checking him out on his channel. All the information for USC J is down in the description section below. You'll find the link to his channel as well as all of his socials. I highly recommend you, please don't do that right now, but after the show, go ahead and check out his stuff. Matter of fact, just this weekend, he's been talking about what's been going on with the Pac-12 Media Days. And most recently, he did a video about a pretty amazing young man who's probably shocked a lot of people. Jay, you want to talk about your video from today?
The video today, man, it was talking about Braylon Shelby, man, 4-star prospect, big-time guy, 6'4", 240-pound freshman, man. I basically kind of made reference to him today, man, talking about how I think he's going to shock everybody, man. And he, like Sam Green and Elijah Page and some of those other guys, he didn't have the opportunity to come in spring and really showcase his talent. So as a result, I think a lot of people are going to be shocked when they see him this week, man. This week practice starts, so he's going to get on the field. He's going to get ready to move and groove. I think he's going to be a sleeper, kind of a sleeper pick. To just shine, man, shine big time as an edge rusher out of the state of Texas.
Yeah, just amazing talent. Wait till you see, there's a theme with some of these guys they brought in that front seven. How do dudes that big move that fast? And when you guys see a picture, if you watch Jay's video, you're going to see just the absolute size of this dude. He's going to put the love of fear of everything into these quarterbacks that he'll be facing going into the year. So let's take it off. Let's do it. Let's rip this Band-Aid off right off the bat, Jay. Let's talk about this today. We're all waiting for Kingston Viliamuasa to make his commitment to one of three great schools. Choices came down to USC, Ohio State, and Notre Dame. Kingston chose Notre Dame. You know, if you had to ask me, if kind of the writing was on the wall a little bit, I said, I told you guys a couple weeks ago, I said, don't worry about all the gloves he's wearing, whatever. I don't have inside information, but everything I know about the kid, he's got like a 4.2 plus GPA. He went out of St. John Bosco. His family is incredibly into academics. You're talking about a kid who went to a Catholic school. His faith is very important to him. You're talking about a place at Notre Dame, which is also a private school, which is also religiously affiliated Christian school, Catholic school. And then you remember some of the things that he said. There was a lot of positive things he said about both schools, Ohio State and USC. But the thing that stuck out to me is he spoke specifically to Al Golden and Al Golden's defense, and how he sees himself in that defense, and how he sees Al Golden, you guys, for those who don't know, he's defensive coordinator at Notre Dame, and most recently, before he got hired to be a defensive coordinator at Notre Dame, he was a linebackers coach for the Bengals, and he's been pretty much a linebackers guy. If he's not being a head coach or defensive coordinator, his roots are as a linebacker coach. And it's a really quick quote from him. Jay, give me a second. I'll turn it over your thoughts. But he said, "I spent a lot of time with Coach Golden. He has NFL experience. He has layout for how I'd fit their defense scheme is really appealing to me. I feel comfortable in knowing he developed me into an NFL linebacker. And so really quick before I go to you, Jay, here's what we got to do. Here's what I got to do. Here's what the USC staff has to do. They didn't do a good job last year selling the defense. We know that they were thin. We know there were some issues. And later on, Riley's going to talk about those holes that needed to address in the front seven. We got to remember, as these kids grew up watching other teams at the front, the Ohio States, the Notre Dames, the Oregons, these schools, the Utahs at the top. And they didn't see much of USC. That's why we lose guys to Alabama, to Georgia, local guys, modern day guys, and recently a modern day guy and a Bosco guy into Alabama and to Georgia. So when they turn around and when they do what we think that they're probably going to do, then you're going to start seeing this momentum in the high school recruiting. But don't worry, we still have the transfer portal and any holes that aren't fixed. And remember also, it's only July, guys. We have till December. Jay, talk to me. What do you think is going on with all this?
Man, well, let me address Kingston real quick first, and I want to touch on recruiting. But the comments that came out of Kingston, out of his mouth today, were very, and you can only respect his decision at this point because, as you alluded to, you talked about the spiritual aspect of it and how, in one of his comments that he said that I prayed about it. He went on some kind of camping trip. Or they were in the mountains somewhere, but I seen it on the Instagram post that he put. He was out there, and I guess some time, and he had to get his thoughts together. But here's his comments today, what he said after he committed. He said, honestly, man, he says, I couldn't even see myself there, talking about Notre Dame. He said, but I could at the other two schools, talking about Ohio State and talking about Notre Dame, USC. So really, I don't even think Notre Dame was really that much in the play as one would think, because if you looked at some of the posts after, you'll notice some of his family friends, they actually had USC clothes on inside the crowd, in the crowd at his commitment. But I think the fact that he kind of came to the decision, he said, he mentioned after prayer, he even put up a scripture. So I can only respect that. I can't go against, when a man says that I prayed about it and those two schools weren't on my radar, basically weren't on my radar before this, I can only respect his decision and kind of roll with what he said. Now the recruiting aspect of it, you talked about the guys that, when are we going to start getting these guys? Look, I've been doing upgrade videos, defensive upgrade videos after defensive upgrade videos for the guys we got. And as I stated before on my program, I said, look, these guys are extremely underrated. I talked about one today, which was Braylon Conley. I talked about Sam Green, extremely underrated. Tackett Curtis was a Louisiana Player of the Year. Just because Louisiana has good football, LSU has good football, and most of their players come from Louisiana. So Tackett Curtis, Gatorade Player of the Year. I think the guys that we got are very, very, very underrated. And, our class is underrated. And that was one of the things that I talked about in December when we made when most of the guys made their commitments. These guys were so, underrated. Elijah Hughes from the state of Virginia. And so, of course, we got Elijah Page. We got him from Notre Dame. So I think we got Michael Benuelas, Eleni Noah. We got multiple guys, 4-star guys. I think people forget that we flipped those guys from Oregon. Eleni Noah, Michael Benuelas, all those guys. And if you remember, Michael Benuelas said one of the reasons he flipped from Oregon was because of the Big Ten move. So I think a lot of people, not selective amnesia, but I think a lot of people forget where we really came from. USC had an outstanding class last year.
Yeah, and as you've really put out very well, a lot of people get tied up on these stars, thinking that it's all about these stars, when in reality, these coaching staffs are going out looking for fits for their systems, as well as just football players out there. And I completely agree with you. And first and foremost, I want to say this, Kingston is a Bosco Brave. I'm a Bosco alum. So I'm very happy for him, his family. I know they prayed and thought about this very hard. They chose the program that's right for them. You guys out there, you got to realize that, USC might be our school, but it's not the school for everybody. I don't think that the staff is going to give up on these guys. These local guys at Bosco and Mater Dei, I think they're just keep coming after them and to keep talking to them. I can see them staying after Peyton and Jordan Lockhart, and of course Kingston. So this isn't over. It's not to say, but I will tell you this. Those guys don't seem like the kind of guys that play games. They seem like they know what they want to do. USC, if they have a shot, is going to really have to show them on the field about this defense and try to win them over that way, because they clearly have done their homework. They're going to these schools. These are all great schools. I hope we could all wish them the best going forward.
Let me say one more thing as it relates to the recruiting. Right now, USC is ranked number 8 according to On3. Notre Dame is ranked number 10 in recruiting. USC currently has 10 top 300 players right now. 10 top 3. When was the last time USC had 10 top 300 players? They have 17 commitments, and they got 10 top 300 players. And so you got to realize Elijah Newby, Cameron Fountain, these guys are some beastly type of guys that are on the field. And so I think we really got to try to put this thing in proper perspective and just really focus on, because yes, we want the local guys, but at the same time, I don't think the coaching staff, they're absolutely going after them. I mean, I know for 100% they're going after them, but USC, like Pete Carroll days, I think they're a national brand opposed to just being a local brand. Not saying we want to go after the homegrown guys, but look at the guys that you got. Elijah Newby from Connecticut, David Pele from Pennsylvania. You got Cameron Fountain from Georgia. You got Boatwright, all those guys from Florida. So I think it's important that we put that twist on it as well. That way we kind of put things in the proper perspective. USC has a top 10 class right now in the 2024 class. Yeah,
I mean, everyone worries about it. They say we missed out on Peyton, we missed out on Aaron Flowers or other players, but they forget we have Marquise Gallegos, we have Boatwright, like you said, or locally we have
Dakota Fields.
Guys like Marcellus Williams or Dakota.
He's a St. John Bosco product.
Dakota Fields, So it's not a situation where sky's falling. Well, oh my gosh, no one wants Grinch's system. We're getting studs like USC J just said. It's just we're not getting everybody. I got news for you. Even Pete Carroll didn't get everybody, and I think that again, if there's a reason why some of these kids aren't sold on it, because USC defensively hasn't shown it yet. There's no proof of concept. After this season, if it plays out the way a lot of us think, now that we have filled the holes and the depth is there, so people aren't going to be playing injured and banged up like a match unit this year, I think that we're really going to start to see some traction in the high school ranks of kids who want to come here. And again, I think that the staff has shown us that if they don't get the guys in high school, they will fill those holes. They will do it through the portal. So not all is lost. So the guys out there freaking out, there's not much bad news. As a matter of fact, Jay, you did a video not too long ago about someone we're looking at that we made our top 4 list. Who was that again?
Absolutely. I just did a video. Jericho Johnson out of Fairfield, California, which is up there by Oakland. That's Northern California. He just put out his top 4. He put USC. He's a big time defensive tackle. You guys get some time. You guys can go to my channel. I just put it out yesterday. Jericho Johnson put out his top 4, and he has USC in there. So I think, look, this thing is still moving and grooving. By the way, we beat Notre Dame, and we beat them pretty good. So, it's his. I take him at his word, and I think he knows that we beat Notre Dame. I take him at his word, and his faith is more so involved with this than a lot of people really realize, because he stayed there. Yeah.
And I mean, USC is a great school, but so is the. See, people asked me a long time ago, why did I count Ohio State out? I don't know the family. I don't want to pretend like I do, but just everything about them told me that academics and getting him ready for the NFL, and faith. Yeah. And there's one proven group. Al Golden is proven with linebackers. Again, he coached linebackers in the Super Bowl just a couple years ago. So I mean, the guy knows how to get to the talent there. I do like it. I do like Odom. I like our guys. I'm just saying we need to show proof of concept till we make that turn. So people are worried about us losing a guy here or a guy there, worried we lose a Tatum. You guys got to remember, we also got Brian Jackson, like another guy that's completely underrated. It's going to be
big time,
banging through defenses. I can't wait to see him play. So look at the big picture. Is this a loss? Absolutely. Are these guys losses? Absolutely. But it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world for those kids. It's not the end of the world for USC. Everyone. The kids and USC can still be successful. Guys, look at the big picture. Moving on. So, I mean, that's the bad news. We're getting out of there. Let's talk about, though. There's been a lot going on this week with the Pac-12. There was the media day, right? So they all decided to head on out to Las Vegas. All the coaches were there except one. Matter of fact, I want to hit that right now just in case. So, unfortunately, Coach Prime was unable to go. He's been ongoing for a while now. He's had circulation issues in his legs. I hope everyone out there keeping him in his prayers. It's a very painful, very dangerous situation with the circulation of his legs. So you guys, if you're into prayer, send a prayer out to Coach Prime. I'm sure he and his family need it right there this time. So back to this Pac-12. So scoot out a little bit, Jay. Sorry about we're pinching each other out. But the All Pac-12 team was released. The preseason was released. Not a lot of surprises here, to be honest with you. Caleb Williams, obviously, we knew that was be a no-brainer. Bucky Irving and Oregon, Damian Martinez, a freshman last year for the Beavers, absolutely outstanding running backs. We'll see. I mean, there's a lot of question marks in here. Well, a lot of questions on offensive line, but there's two things about this league. There are some incredibly great offensive linemen and quarterbacks. Jay, anything to talk about in the first team?
I would have thought when you look at especially the offensive linemen, I thought given, especially when Jared Kingston, when he transferred coming from Washington State, he was one of the top, like I said, Ohio State, they wanted him. He was one of the top offensive linemen coming out. It's just, I don't know. I think they might have shortchanged him, but PFF does have Oregon State. They have Oregon State as the third best offensive line in the country right now. They have USC according to PFF, they have USC number 5. So I can see how Oregon State can have a couple of guys on there from that list, but I do think Jared Kingston could have possibly slid in that list.
Yeah, I had that graphic. I just don't have it up there. But yeah, I mean, you see them up there with, the Alabamas. You see them up there, but then you have Oregon State, you have USC at 5, like you said. But, some of the, the Michigans of the world. But USC, I've been on this horse for a while. We had Clay McGuire started it the year before Henson got there. And I'm just telling you, these guys we have in our offensive line room are just special. And we're continuing to get great players consistently in the high school ranks as well. You just brought up Kingston that we brought in, but I can't wait to see the depth that we're adding every single year. These guys are big, athletic. Elijah Page, cannot wait. This is a freshman coming on. Who knows what he's going to look like once he gets out there? I'm sure he needs time, right? Micah Banuelos, absolute mauler, just going to be terrifying defenses out there, just getting up the field. Alani Noah and Tobias Raymond, also these guys from last year's class are just going to be sick. I'm not worried about our offensive line situation. I'm not worried about wide receivers, and clearly we're not worried about quarterbacks and running backs. Don't worry about some misses because we are stacked. And unfortunately, as we go, we know this, as you get more and more talent stacked, it becomes harder and harder because these guys all have a plan. It's usually a 3-year plan to get to the NFL. But again,
and to your point, Tim, that's what that was one of the things that crossed my mind, especially not with Kingston, but with Tatum. Tatum, when you look at what our freshman guys did in the spring game, Quinn Joyner, Marion Peterson, I just wonder, those are some big time backs, and what they showed it in the spring that they can really get loose when they want to. So when Tatum didn't commit, I wonder. I know the baseball aspect is involved with that, but then at the same time, from a football move, I wonder if he has a better opportunity to play at Oklahoma opposed to USC. I mean, Marshawn Lloyd can come back next year. You do know that, right?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he can come back.
I'm just saying, though, I think the season I think he's going to have and the wear and tear on running backs, I would be shocked if he was, but yeah, he has eligibility. You're absolutely right. So, and I agree with you. I mean, Quentin Joyner, he was a top 100 running back, top 100 player in the country, one of the best running backs in the nation that came to USC. So, these guys have an eye on stuff. Tatum's gonna be great at Oklahoma, but we're doing just fine here at USC. So yeah, I'm with you. And then Dorian Singer brought him over from Arizona, part of our raid of Arizona with Keon Bars coming over as well. And at cornerback, Christian Roland Wallace. So it's really nice to see filling in, it's some hard shoes to fill with Addison, but this guy he led, I think, last year in yards, I believe, in the Pac-12. Yeah, or if he didn't, he was way up there. He was definitely a 1,000-yard receiver.
I think he had 1,150 yards or 1,050 yards, somewhere around that. I don't think I'm not sure if it was leading the Pac-12, but I know he had over 1,000 yards. But the same way I thought about Jordan Addison, I think is the same way I kind of feel about Singer. I think he will be effective, but I do think we got over 4 receivers I think that have over 600 yards, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, Taj Washington, and you got Brendan Rice. But, you guys a lot of people got to remember when Jordan Addison, Mario Williams went out, I always kind of make this point. Caleb Williams had his biggest game. And you know who was in there? At the time, it was Mario Williams was out, Jordan Addison was out, but you had Brendan Rice. Well, I think you had Brandon Rice, you had Kyle Ford, you had Michael Jackson, and then you had Taj Washington. All those guys just absolutely went off. You remember that at the Utah game, they went off when Jordan Addison and Mario both were out. So I think it's going to be a competition, but we never had a receiver problem.
Yeah. And just a reminder, you guys, I see some people already filling up in the queue. We will absolutely be getting to you. But remember, it'll be later in the show, probably the last 20 minutes of the show. We will definitely get you. So if you want to hang in there, William, I see you there. If you want to hang out, that's fine. Otherwise, you can go ahead. I'll get you, since you were first in line, I can get you to the front of the line if you just want to take some time off and just kind of watch the show. And for us, you guys, listen, if you guys are enjoying the content here, I am absolutely dedicated to bringing you guys the best guests that I possibly can. If it's going to be a USC athlete or if it's going to be someone from the media that I really admire and appreciate, it's going to happen. So do us a favor, though. If you are enjoying what you're seeing, if you do enjoy the content, the best way you can let me know that I'm giving you the best stuff out there, stuff that you'd want to see, stuff that you find important, please do us a favor and hit that like button, subscribe. We appreciate it. We're trying to get to 5,000 by the beginning of the season, and every sub helps. So appreciate all of you guys. Let's move on to the second team, Jay. So this is the second team. This is the first team defense. Sorry, that was the offense. First team defense for USC. The sole guy out there is Caleb Bullock, free safety for USC, absolute stud, rangy. He's put on some size. If you guys have seen pictures of him, one of the big criticism was his tackling. He's getting ready for the NFL. He's putting on that size, and I'm excited to see what he can do this year. Any thoughts on Caleb? Kalen?
And I love Caleb Bullock. He's not only is he on the first team defense, but then of course PFF has him ranked as one of the top 10 safeties coming back. Caleb Williams absolutely covers so much ground, man. I have some footage I put up on my Instagram. This guy covers ground all over the field, man, from one sideline to a sideline. So I think he's gonna be one of the leaders on the defense, definitely.
And then you have a great pass rusher up at Washington and Braylon Trice, along with Latu from UCLA. Both those guys, amazing. If you're a quarterback in this league, actually, if you're a defense league, this is what you need. These are the guys who are disruptors. These guys, if you let these great quarterbacks sit back there, they will pick you apart. But these are the pieces you need. This is why our defense struggled a little bit, because you can't expect your defense to sit back there and cover guys. You need someone that's putting pressure on that quarterback, someone causing havoc in the backfield, blowing up plays before they get started. These are two of the best in the conference for sure. Anyone else stick out for you?
I mean, Latu, I really like him, man. He's a beast, man. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much. I can't really disagree with that list. Our guys, of course, we got a whole new front seven. All the guys are brand new. So of course, we're not going to have any guys on there. But I think after this year, we'll have some guys on there. So I can't really disagree with that list. And then even with our DBs, we gotta tighten it up a little bit. So I can't disagree with that list.
Yeah, and Jackson Sermon up at Cal, just absolute tackling machine. I want to think that he'll be Cobb and Sermon. If the name sounds familiar, his dad is a linebacker coach back a little while ago up at Cal. That guy is going to get his tackles. And then the other two you got to look at is Cole Bishop. Cole Bishop's a safety. He's an absolute NFL guy. He was actually there for the Utes for the Pac-12 Media Day. And then everyone knows Travis Hunter came over, followed Dion to Colorado. This guy was the number one corner in the country in recruiting a couple years back. Now he's over there in Colorado. Probably be one of the shining parts in maybe a very difficult season for the Buffaloes.
I will say this though, I like Travis Hunter. I really like Travis Hunter, and he was the number one player coming out. He had to play against some different competition at Jackson State. I just wonder how, when they get ready to play USC. I mean, the Pac-12 is absolutely loaded. I know we're getting ready to get into these quarterbacks, but man, day in and day out, they're gonna have, he's gonna have to be on his horse big time. And I don't see him. He's going back and forth playing receiver and cornerback. I just don't see that happening, man. Playing in the Pac-12, we'll see, but it's not gonna be the same as being at Jackson State.
No, yeah, I agree. It's that the level of competition is going to be a jump, but if all of the accolades he got from high school play out and his ability is able to shine, it'll be pretty clear that he fits here in the Pac-12. And again, another position very strong in the Pac-12 is that secondary.
Absolutely.
So again, really quickly, this is jam through really quick. So for the Trojans who are making first team, Caleb Williams, Dorian Singer, Kalen Bullock, Eddie Saplitsky, and Ray Leach Brown. On the for the second team, it was Jarrett Kingston, Jonah Meinheim, Justin Diedich, Eric Gentry, and Mason Cobb. And an honorary mention for the Trojans, Bear Alexander, Keon Bars, Christian Roland Wallace, Shane Lee, Austin Jones, and Ray Leach Brown. And I'm going to tell you, you take a look at this honorable mention list. I'm telling you right now, I'm looking at guys on here. Crazy. At the end, this is the preseason, and I get it. These guys are, some of these guys are new to the league, but I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of Trojans on the first and second team when the season is over. Looking at Keon Bars and Bear Alexander as an honorable mention. I know we got some studs here in the conference, but get ready for those guys to show up and be there for these lists at the end of the year.
Yeah, I feel the same way, man. And then even Roland Wallace, Christian Roland Wallace started 3 years at Arizona at cornerback. I mean, I don't know. Honorable mention. I mean, I think he had a pretty decent PFF grade. And then Shane Lee, honorable mention. He did have a lot of tackles. You can give that to him. Did he miss some? Yeah, he missed some, but he did have some. And then I think, of course, as you stated, Bear Alexander and Keon Bars. Keon Bars was highly recruited through the transfer portal, and he was a very effective guy. So, I think it's going to change. Of course, it's going to change. Austin Jones' work speaks for itself. I know a lot of people looking at that first team to see Leach on there. They're doing that for special teams. So, I guess it is what it is. I'm not sure how they did that.
No, you brought up a good point with Keon Bars. I mean, the guy 2 seasons ago, I think he was second team All Pac-12, right? And then things switched up, and now he's coming back, and he's just gonna be better. And you guys have seen the workout videos. This guy is massive. Dependent Fanatic, I like Jed Fish, and I like Jed Fish too, but I don't think Jed Fish likes the Trojans. Looking at this picture, you're looking at a Keon Bars, and you look at Christian Roland Wallace. Both those guys were playing for Jed Fish last year, and now they're with the Trojans.
And Dorian Singer.
Yeah, Singer. Yeah, for the previous page. So I like him too. I think he's doing some great things over there. We'll get into the coaches in a minute. But speaking of the league again, this is a special season, and especially at quarterback. Last year, these guys played amazing, and they're all back this year. All these guys are back. You have 3 legitimate Heisman Trophy candidates in Williams, Penix, and Nix. Ward, Rising. Also, I'll take, they had the right season. Rising could also be, if he stays healthy, and if he's healthy to start the season and stays healthy, he could possibly be a Heisman candidate. So there's really a lot of guys here in this league. All these guys threw for 3,000 yards last year. I'm going to tell you right now, they're all probably, if they all stay healthy, are throwing for 3,000 again this year.
Absolutely, man. And I was listening to a podcast. They were talking about how this could, and I stated this before, man. The Pac-12 this year, we could put them up. We can literally put them at the second conference, as the second best conference this year. Even Jaden Delore, man, that guy gave us absolute fits last year. You remember him running all around for Arizona, going crazy. And then, of course, Cam Rising speaks for himself. But Cam Ward, he was moving around quite a bit last year as well. But those top 3, man, Michael Penix, Bo Nix, man, all those guys. But if I had to pick them, I would pick them just as it is. Caleb Williams, Michael Penix, and Bo Nix. I think Michael Penix, I think he has a slight edge. I don't know if you guys seen the game last year when they played Oregon, but man, he was throwing the ball all over. And then that first game of the season when they played Michigan State, I mean, he just went crazy. And so, we got a big time quarterbacks that USC has to play against.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a fabulous year, and not anything surprising. I think now that the coaching stability is back, I mean, it's not a mystery that the Pac-12, or it's not even unheard of, because the Pac-12 is pretty much the conference of quarterbacks. It just is, as traditionally always has been. A lot of them have been leaving the West Coast to go to the SEC, to go to the Big Ten. But I think that, again, as the Pac-12 gets a little more coaching stability, when you have the right coach at USC, Washington, UCLA, Oregon, you're going to see a lot of these guys staying home on the West Coast and continue for Pac-12 quarterbacks to be fed into the league. So,
and not to mention, Tim, that you got DJ that came from Clemson. I want to see how that works out. I think the other quarterback that's right there with him, I think he went 7-1. I can't remember that guy's name, but the quarterback.
Bill Crampton.
What's his name?
Is it
I can't
Brown?
remember. I think he went 7-1, the one that's on there right now. So you talking about a loaded league right now. And then I wouldn't even slight UCLA. They got Deontay Moore that came in, but then you got that quarterback that came from I think he came from Kent State. He threw for like 2,400 yards, but that guy can move around a little bit too.
Yeah, Ward's got to get some help. You know what I mean? An offensive line and a stronger running game. But yeah, I mean, he's shown that he has that talent, that raw talent. Hopefully he can get his as well. So moving into, so now we're done with that section. Let me pull this up here real quick. So I was trying to get to the chat, you guys. I'm really sorry, but we've been a bit busy, the chat. Media poll. So this is how the media sees the Pac-12 preseason as the preseason favorites. Clearly, this is going to shift. I mean, I see this as really, there's almost like a grab bag, to be honest with you. I mean, I differ from a lot of people. I really think it's tight on the top. I actually think that those top two, then it's the next three, actually probably even the next four, and then the rest of the league. That top six, depending on what happens in quarterback situation at UCLA, how well Steele plays as a running back, how well they can fill in what they did. And you always know that Chip Kelly does somehow through the portal or one way or another fill in that roster. I think they're solid. But USC, Washington, Utah, Oregon, Oregon State, and UCLA, I think they're all serious. They all have a good chance. I put the odds of winning the conference, though, probably stop somewhere around Oregon State. Again, UCLA, sorry, search could get hot. And who knows? It's the Pac-12. Anything can happen. But I think it's really going to be a race between those top four. And I can see Oregon State, if DJ plays the way I think he's going to play, that possibly they could sneak their way into the conversation as well.
Absolutely. And think about this. The last 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, the Pac-12 media, they voted Utah, coincidentally, who won the Pac-12 with the past couple of years, right? And as a result, that means their level of accuracy is just kind of on point. So for them to put USC at the top, I think that's very telling, especially given the fact that we're getting ready to head out of this league. They were kind of keeping it, I guess we want to say, they were kind of keeping it real and 100 by putting USC at the top. Few people evaluate this roster. When I look at national media, when I look at different people talk about USC from different podcasts, few people really evaluate this roster and really understand the guys we got in the transfer portal. I think the Pac-12 media understands it, and as a result, they put USC at number one. I don't think they just put them there just to put them there. And coincidentally, as I bring up on my show, Phil Steele, one of the guys that's one of the most accurate guys, picked 140 out of 134 preseason picks. He got them right. 134 out of 140 got him right. He picked USC to go to the playoffs this year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he has been very consistent, if not anything else. And I believe that the voice of college football, Mark Rogers, will be having him join him in the near future. So you guys keep an eye out for that. Willie, with a super chat. Willie, thank you so much for just being here on a Sunday, but also really appreciate the $4.99 super chat. Willie, thank you so much. Not only for taking your time, but also money out of your own pocket to say thank you. You guys, once again, just to say thank you. Those of you guys, we all appreciate the super chats, but what's really important also is hitting that like button so more people can see the show. So if you guys are enjoying the content and getting information that you like, please do me a favor. Just take 1 second to hit that like button. It lets people know, well, lets me know that I'm providing you guys with some good information that you want to hear, but also it's a great way for you, if you sub and notify, to know about our shows coming up later this week. So appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much. And so it was really one-sided, Jay. It wasn't like it was close as far as the voting was concerned. It was pretty much USC and everybody else.
Right.
So, USC got 25 first place votes, 413 total points. Next, with the most first place votes was Utah, but with 6. But Washington, with only 4, got more total votes than Utah, followed by Oregon with the one lonely pick. I'm sure that's probably some Eugene reporter. Then Oregon State and UCLA. So again, we've talked about, I like what Serge said about the fact that, you could really, the top 4, you could coin toss it with 5 and 6. And he also made the point, it's true, it's kind of hard to predict a UCLA team that's most likely going to be starting a true freshman at quarterback. So I think it's time to move away from that stuff and let's talk some more about the Trojans. So the Trojans sent 2 guys to the event, those being Mason, so 13 and 13. If you guys saw the social media for USC, 13 squared. 13 on offense is Caleb Williams. 13 on defense is Mason Cobb. Both of them hop on a flight. If you guys have a chance, go over to the USC Athletic page and take a look at their journey. Some great video and stuff on it. But these guys look like they had some great fun. Both of them represented the university really well. As the show here, we have Caleb Williams and Mason. I'm always going to get Caleb and Kalen mixed up until one of them is no longer on the team. Thank God they're probably both leaving this year. And then also Lincoln Riley for USC. Jay, did you get a chance to watch some of the interviews?
Yeah, I did. I actually did a video on it. I did a video on that Saturday as well, and kind of talked about Mason Cobb, man. And let me say this: one of the things that really stood out to me is that both of those guys came looking professional, very professional. Those guys had suits on, and you see other guys with polos on. But I think Lincoln Riley had this thing really, just his whole presentation of these guys were very professional. Each one of them spoke. They articulated themselves very well.
Yeah.
And some of the comments coming from Mason Cobb, man, I think was just outstanding from a leadership standpoint, talking about how Shane Lee, Eric Gentry, he felt like, all these guys just received him very, very well. He even kind of said that he didn't think it was going to go like that, but it did. They received him well, and as a result, he came and now he's in the lead. They both look like the two leaders, the leader on offense and the leader on defense.
Yeah, and Mason Cobb actually said he got overwhelmingly emotional when he was told that he was the one representing the team. Players and coaches have taken the time to explain that Mason has been a leader on the field and off the field. You can see, I think I said this, at least a month ago on my show, talk about every time you hear it was during spring practice, I think. You hear this guy talk, he's a lead. I mean, he's like that off the field, he's like what he's gonna be like on the field. Yeah. And I think he said one of the key things he was talking about was the fact that he feels he has, through his effort and through his work maybe in the weight room as well as on the field, has earned the respect of his teammates. And that's important for that Mike linebacker's position. He's like the quarterback of the defense. They need to trust each other, work together as a unit. And I'm sure it's very tough for him to come in from a different team, to come into an established locker room and try to make everyone fit. But I think this culture first in this program, and he seems like a culture guy, and he seems like he fit right in.
Yeah. And just remember, Shane Lee did the same thing. Shane Lee basically came in as a leader last year. But, I want to give credit to Lincoln Riley. Coach Riley, I think he has a way to blend. Nobody's done it like this from a transfer portal perspective. He's had the ability to blend these guys together, and it seemed like create this family type of environment. As a result, there doesn't seem like it's a whole lot of animosity right now. So I think that we see that with Mason Cobb and with his comments. And I think it's straight up go time, man. We're about to see a product on the field starting this week. Practice, man. It's about to be go time.
Yeah, I can't wait for fall camp to start. But so talking about that, let's move over to the USC side of it. So they got there, they had their fun, but let's hear what Lincoln Riley had to say, and really what he's talking about when the after last season 1, they tried to make some fixes, but they clearly couldn't make all the fixes in 1 year. Let's see his thoughts on year 1 to year 2.
We feel like we learned a lot in year 1 about what we are. We took some tremendous steps, but also had some very obvious holes to fill and some improvements to be made. And we feel like we've aggressively addressed a lot of those areas. And you saw the difference, certainly, I think, even in spring ball, in just the competitive depth within our program. And that has been, we knew that was going to be a little bit of a journey, right? This day and age, and it's been talked about a lot, you can build rosters faster than you could before, but you still can't do everything in 1 year. Like it can't happen. You can make dramatic changes, but not everything. And so we were proud of what we did in year 1, but certainly very focused on what we felt like year 2 could be.
So just some thoughts from Riley on that. The fact that, there were some, like you said, obvious, there were holes and some improvement needed to be made. And he addressed that right away. I said it at the end of the season. It looked like in the beginning of the year, we definitely have the pieces. If you look at our frontline guys, we did have a lot of talent on the team. However, as the season goes on, guys go down, guys get hurt, guys play hurt. you saw the quality of play drop off. Getting that quality depth helps you in two ways. One, it's going to allow guys to get less reps, obviously, so they don't get so banged up come November. They'll still have healthy bodies out there. And then also, if someone does go, the next man steps up. And quite frankly, at a number of our positions, like I remember we were trying to figure out the cornerback position. You know, which guy's going to start at corner? What guy's going to start at rush end? What guy's going to start at middle linebacker? You know, it's these kind of conversations show you just how deep this team has gotten in 1 year.
Absolutely. And if you remember, I'll take you back to last year, Lincoln Riley, doing a press conference and doing the spring, he talked about all the guys we got. He's kind of making the same type of comments, but he's feeling a little bit more confident about some of the areas of depth. And I think as a result, we're getting ready to, and we did go 11-3. We went 11-3 with some of the guys that we had, and he stated the same type of statements. And Lincoln Riley's a coach that's been around, has success in the playoffs, played against Georgia. So you would think that he knows how to identify talent pretty well. So I think with him, his comments, I think they're very telling, saying that we address some issues, address some holes. I feel confident that everything he's saying is valid, is legit. And as a result, I think we're going to the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And a big part of that is the depth out there. You have a lot of returning talent mixed in with a lot of veteran players that have proven themselves on other teams and in other conferences. And then you have guys that are young that got some playing time last year as freshmen from other teams that are coming in and make a huge point. So it's just a lot. And so in the next clip, Lincoln Riley kind of talks about the fact on how this is coming together from year one, year two. But there is that sense of urgency, you know, as they're leaving the Pac-12 and with losing, they're going to lose some guys, you know, like you talk about. Kalen Bullock won't be here. Yeah. Caleb Williams won't be here. A number of guys won't be here going forward. So there is a window, not saying that the year after that's closing out as we go into the Big Ten, but there is a window and they need to seize the opportunity. Here's what Lincoln said. And
so it was fun to see again, the competitive depth, especially in some key areas, the defensive front seven chief among those. And I think watching this team unfold throughout spring into summer, a lot to be excited about. Listen, we got a great opportunity in front of us. I think everybody within our program, every player senses that and wants to do a great job of taking advantage of this because, you know, these windows are short and you only get so many shots at this.
So again, him just talking about the fact that they have the pieces here. He feels that it's just like Jay, what you said, they're going to make a playoff run. They've got a great Pac-12. Those 4 teams we talked about, fortunately, they do not have to play Oregon State this year, but they play the other guys. And so it's going to be this round robin of 4 at the top. And then no one's counting out. I was going back to research a little bit earlier, but that freshman quarterback will probably have, I don't know, anywhere from 10, 11, 7 at least, or 8 games underneath his belt by the time he gets to play USC. We know that there's some questions about Cam Rising, but we know he'll be healthy and have a couple games underneath him before he plays us. So that long stretch, that long run that thank you Pac-12 gave us with the early bye is going to be a hell of a test. But I do think with the depth pieces that he's added, it puts USC in a position to be successful and make a run at the playoffs.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that.
All right. So you guys, those are Riley's comments. Chip Kelly also. So I just want to hit a couple of coaches because I do want to take some time. If you guys do want to make some calls and call in, guys, go ahead and start loading up that queue if you want to right now. We got about 15 more minutes. We're going to go through the rest of the Pac-12 really quickly. Chip Kelly across town talked about Bill McGovern. You know, I really want to hate this guy. I just always want to hate. He was at Oregon. You know, he's at UCLA now. And he was really cocky, I thought. I mean, I didn't know the guy, obviously, but just in Philadelphia and with the media, and obviously Philadelphia media is not exactly easy, but also, you know, when he was at Oregon, very cocky, kind of curt with people. But, you know, seeing the human side of him, he really opened up and during these interviews, just the way he talked about the passing of his defensive coordinator, Bill McGovern, passed away last year of cancer, just talked about his bravery. Great story. And then he talks about Latu and just how the fact that, you know, his career might have been over at Washington, that he resurfaces at UCLA, puts all the work in, not knowing if he'll ever play again, just talking to the character of Latu. Conversations like that really, Jay is bugging me. I'm actually starting to like Chip Kelly, and I can't believe I'm admitting that in public. Any thoughts, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I respect him. I respect his body of work. I respect what he did at Oregon from a football perspective. I respect what he's doing at UCLA. He had a good year last year, and the year before they opened up with LSU, put the whooping on them. I mean, so it looked like he's trying to build something. As far as their recruiting, I'm not sure how they're addressing that. It seems like they hit the transfer portal pretty good, getting a good running back, I think, from Ball State.
Steele, yeah.
Another one, quarterback from Kent State. So they look like they appear to be doing okay recruiting. But I've heard, to your point, I think I was the ex-receiver for Cal, Deshaun Jackson. I kind of heard him talk about Chip Kelly. So, I mean, I guess in some circles he gets under people's skin and in some he doesn't. But at the end of the day, it's about, what you're doing and what you're bringing on the field. And, we always want to respect those who passed away as well, man. So, much respect for just even talking about that as well with him.
Maybe search can help me too, but they also have a new defensive coordinator. So replacing the quarterback, they're also replacing a defensive coordinator. Search, I hope you're out there still. But he's 33 years old. But the way Chip talked about him, the fact that he's 33, but he has 12 years of NFL experience. So do the math in your head. The guy actually seems like a genius. He worked with John Harbaugh and Romeo Crennel and Mike Vrabel in order to kind of find this guy. He's very high on him. I just think that it's young. He's a young coordinator, but we've seen young coordinators do very, very well in this league. I'm just curious to see the question marks at quarterback and defensive coordinator, how much that's going to hold them back. Another team also that was, all the teams were there, but Kyle Whittingham made a little bit of news. He said that analytics show that offense is more important than defense. Now, obviously, anyone that's been around this league very long knows how much hard-nosed, lunch pail guy Kyle Whittingham is about just bringing it and bringing that toughness, that defense, and the blue-collar guy. But he's talking about the fact that, the analytics show that offense is way more important. Well, not way more, but more important than the defense. That raised some eyebrows. Also, he talked about Utah being possibly the first one to three-peat in the Pac-12. That's the asterisk, the Pac-12 part. But, you got to remember USC under Pete Carroll. He won the conference or a share of the conference from 2002 to 2008. That's 7 straight that Pete was able to do at USC. USC has also three-peated many times throughout the history of the Pac-10, Pac-8, et cetera, going all the way back. I think UCLA and Cal, the other teams, actually to win 3 in a row in conference. Any thoughts on Kyle Whittingham?
Yeah, when you look at talking about making reference to his analytics, discussing the analytics, we got to look at college football as a whole. Like, where is it going right now? If you looked at the national championship game, the playoff game, let me say Ohio State versus Georgia. Georgia's supposed to be the defensive powerhouse.
Yeah.
We see those two offenses exploding, putting on 40, 50 points. Mm-hmm. Then you look at Alabama against Tennessee. What did they do? They went absolutely crazy. It looks like, to his point, it looks like you really do need to have some firepower, which is Lincoln Riley is accustomed to having anyway. But Alabama, Tennessee, that game was an absolute shootout. These are supposed to be SEC defenses. Apparently, defenses now, it's kind of hard to contain these teams that just have extreme firepower, because even Alabama had trouble. You look at what Tennessee did to South Carolina, South Carolina did to Tennessee, putting 66 points on them last year? Absolutely crazy, like 66-32. So I kind of agree with that to an extent. I think these offenses are getting so explosive and so complex, route running and everything else. And as a result, it's harder for some of these teams to contain. And you're starting to see that the scores just elevate on a whole nother level from even within the SEC conference that's supposed to be the defensive conference.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you brought up that point, because these all-world defenses do get exposed when you go up against elite offenses, and elite offenses can and will make a difference in big games. So you can't count out a team that has, a top 5, top 10 offense, no matter how good your defense is. That's really a great point. And thanks again, Search, for letting us know the defensive coordinator is Lynn over at UCLA, downtown Lynn. All right, so that's these guys, and then you have Cam Rising, and again, Cam Rising's comments at the end after the championship game, I believe it wasn't sour grapes. Great win by the Utes, but he did not handle that in the most magnanimous way. Kind of lost some respect for him. But I do like this quote he has here. So this is based on the fact that they were that we showed you, the Pac-12 Media put them, I believe, at 4th. Was it 4th? Let's see, hold on. 3rd. So they have them at 3rd in the conference. And this is a great quote. He just says, hey, it is what it is. They can think whatever they want and just come find out, come the season. And that's what he's talking about. He's saying, we're going to let our play on the field show you guys. We don't care about some. And quite frankly, it's totally true. Like we said, it can be any one of those 4 teams. It's just a poll. We don't know. These teams haven't gelled together. We haven't seen them on the field. We don't know when Cam Rising is going to actually be healthy. That's another thing. Whittingham, you talked about Keefe coming back. They're great tight end. He's going to be back. He got hurt before Cam Rising. So he's fully ready to go for being a season. But he did let out of the bag, he being Whittingham, that Cam Rising will be kind of a like week-to-week game day decision when they play the Florida Gators up at Rice Eccles start the season.
Right. And I hope he's well when they play us. I don't want no excuses. We're gonna beat Utah. I'm sorry. We're gonna beat Utah at home. And as I stated before, the Pac-12 media did vote Utah the past couple of years. So you got to give them credit there. But I mean, they're only going by the talent that they see on the field. So, but yeah, I mean, I would expect Cam Rising to say those type of comments. I mean, if any type of competitor, you're going to believe in your team, you're going to believe in yourself. So rightfully so, he should make those comments.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And I like the way you said it. He said that we're going to let our talk. You can write about wherever you want. We're going to let our play show you guys that talk's cheap. All right. So I just opened up the phone lines. You guys, if you guys want to call in, I'll give pressure. We got like 4 guys in the back lined up. I see you guys. I will get you, Willie. I told you I'd get you in first. But I just opened the phone line. The phone line is down below in the description. So you guys want to call in, ask USC J or myself any questions leading into the fall camp or about the 2023 season. We're here. This is your opportunity. So please go ahead and call. It's in the description. I think I have the phone number as well. Let me just check it really quick. Yeah. So there it is also. There's the phone number if you guys want to join the conversation. And then the last thing here to hit the Big 12 was this one. Was a great comment. Jake Dickert, coach up in the Palouse at Washington State, says, I want to give a nod to Coach Leach because I know everyone used to remember him for his funny things at media days, talking about pirates and mascots, some epic conversations, by the way, all the fun things. We remember him at Washington State for making us believe we could win again. And that's absolutely what they did up at Washington State. This revolutionary offense. I remember just spreading USC out with these gigantic gigantic defenses, and they would spread us out. But how's that guy so damn open? I'd get so mad. And it was because he was scheming the guys open. And Mike Leach, obviously we lost him. And just a great comment from Dickert to give a head nod to remind people that he wasn't just a funny interview. He was also an amazing coach.
Man, Mike Leach is one of those guys that I would look, no other coach, I would look forward to his post-game press conference just because of some of the things that he would say. Of course, Lincoln Riley, Cliff Kingsbury, both of those guys come from the Mike Leach tree over at Texas Tech. So, some of their pedigree, they come from that stock. So I got much love for Mike Leach. I loved him when he was at Washington State, even though he was going against USC. I loved him when he was at Mississippi State. So much respect to Mike Leach.
Yeah. All right, well, that's it. So listen, guys, I want to go ahead and get some people in. But before, I just want to do one more time, you guys. If you guys are enjoying the content, if you guys feel that we is a great way to enjoy your Sunday, please hit that like and subscribe button. Also, hit the notification bell. When you hit the notification bell, it lets you know when we're going to go live. So please just do me a favor. If you haven't done it already, hit that like. And if you would like to see future shows from us, go ahead and subscribe. We're trying to get to 5,000 by the beginning of the season. So first person in, William, how you doing? By the way, thank you for your super chat. We really appreciate it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Good to be in here. I literally watch you guys' show, even Jay's show every morning.
Well, thank you very much for support.
Hey, thank you, man. Appreciate that, William.
I do got a question. Do you guys think that Quentin Joyner and Amarion Peterson are being criminally underrated? Because I swear they don't get no talk like the other freshmen.
Well, the reason for that might be just the fact that we have Austin Jones, we have Marshawn Lloyd, and who's really criminally underrated is Darwin Barlow. No one even talks about him.
Barlow.
Those freshmen are going to eat. They've got time. Yeah. Ray Leak Brown was moved over to wide receiver. If you guys just recently saw G Green's video, it's official on the roster. It's now there officially. So Joyner, again, like I said, was a top 100 player in the country as a recruit. And forget the recruiting services. Anybody that watched the spring game saw those guys absolutely ball
absolutely.
out. I'm more than excited what they're going to bring. But I'm also really excited about the veterans. You know, Austin Jones, another guy who's getting no love. I don't know why. All he did was just tote the rock and take over when Dye got hurt. So we are absolutely stacked at running back. That's probably why they're not getting a lot of play. But don't worry, they will. Jay, what are you thinking?
I think they're underrated from the perspective of when we talked about the whole Tatum situation. I don't think people realize how good these two running backs actually are. However, I do think I did a video about these running backs. I do think that, you know, with Marshawn Lloyd coming in, of course, Darwin Barlow, Austin Jones, I'm not going to count them out, but I don't think Marshawn Lloyd is coming over just to sit on the bench. I don't think, and that's with any transfer portal player. When you got high caliber players like that, Marshawn Lloyd was like a top 50 player when he came in. I don't see any big time transfer portal player like a Mason Cobb, Marshawn Lloyd. I just don't think they're gonna bring him over here just to sit on the bench. But I do, to your point, William, I think these two are outstanding, and they showed it. They showed flashes that they could be extremely powerful. We essentially got lightning and thunder with Marion Peterson and Quentin Joyner right now.
I do want to know your guys' sorry, go ahead.
Well, then, and remember Thunder as well. We have Thunder also.
Yeah.
A bigger Thunder and Brian Jackson coming in as a freshman as in the recruiting class. So I mean, running back, we are it's an embarrassment of riches.
What do you guys think about Manasseh Ititi from the 24 class? He looks like he's on flip watch.
I've seen that, man. I don't know what to think of that. I seen him with a Washington shirt on. I don't know. I don't know. It just happened over the weekend, so I seen the comments on Twitter. So I really don't know what to think about that. I mean, we just have to wait and kind of see what happens.
Screams attention to me.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say. Listen, one thing we got to remember is so even if your kid's having fun, I think, you know what? I think all of us as adults need to let the 17 and 18-year-old kids have fun.
Oh, of course. I was just saying.
That's just my take on it. You know, if he wants to have a little fun and mess with the fan base, if he wants to just kind of mess with his friend. I mean, a lot of people also think that they're always speaking to, they may be just messing with friends. You know, this is their high school years. Yeah, this is their senior season. They're going to have some fun. I would say if he flips, he flips. That's just recruiting, right?
Yep.
I would hope not. I think he just has all that raw talent and he's going to be a beast. Don't lose any sleep over it. These guys.
Oh, yeah, and he still. I looked on his Instagram. He still has his committed. You know, you see the committed picture on there. And let me ask you guys, you know, when is the last time? When did we ever get to this point to where we used to have National Signing Day, right, in February? Then they moved it back to December. When did we ever start seeing this many guys commit in June and July? I've never seen it. I've never seen it like this. I mean, there's always been a big explosion. That was the big holiday, if you will, going into February, even December. But now these guys are committing, and you know, so it's so much time and space in between that anything's liable to happen. We talked about Kingston. Even with Kingston, anything can happen between now, us having a great season, and us flipping multiple guys. And
remember, commitments are just that. I mean, and actually, it's really the word commitment they need to find a different word than commitment, because I mean, really, it is so if it was my son, you want them to commit somewhere, because you know we've seen it where some guy gets hurt in his senior year. You want to back yourself up and have an opportunity to go to a school like an Alabama, like a USC, like a Georgia, you know, like an Oklahoma, where at least you know you have a spot on that roster if you get hurt. You know, so like Notre Dame for Kingston. I'm not saying that's what these kids are doing, but I think it's a smart play. You know, why not? You know, you want to commit, you make a commitment. I think the guys I just named, again, the people that recently committed, I truly believe these guys, this is the school they thought about. It looks like these kids all did their homework. Their families have thought about it, prayed on it. I think these are real commitments. But remember, we have a whole season to play as well. And this way, the kids are locked in. They have their spot. I believe it kind of ensures them in case of injury. That's why I think we're seeing a little more. And I agree with you. That June was crazy. I've never seen a June like that recruiting for USC. Crazy. Not even close. So I think they might want to get out of the way before their senior season starts. So so they don't have to deal with any stuff during the season. They can focus on their last year of football. But also the fact is that, you know, if something, God forbid, were to happen, then they already have their scholarship. You know, they already have their commitment, their scholarship offer.
That is fair. Great answer. And one last thing. Do you guys believe that the players that we didn't snag now, do you think at least a good 70% of them flip back if we have like a insane season?
Well, that's
what
we're talking about right now.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. That's what I think these guys could flip if we have a winning season. Absolutely.
I don't know about that 70% part. I think that maybe here's what I think. I think that sure there's a possibility. Again, just hearing these kids talk about those schools, of course it could change. But I think that they haven't just picked out of a team out of the random hat. They've really put a lot of thought and prayer and stuff in this. But what I think we should be looking for is there's a lot of guys that are committed throughout the country that may be committed somewhere else, right? That maybe not been high in the news or on the websites as some of the recent players have been, that are going to see if USC's defense plays the way I think it's going to play. They're going to maybe have second thoughts.
That's what I'm saying. If USC defense plays, just say we go to the playoffs and we have we hold teams to 24 points a game every year, and our defense makes the top 20, just whatever. I can guarantee you some guys gonna flip. You know why? Because they want to be on a winning team and guys that has the momentum, just like Georgia. Georgia has made it's easy for Georgia to recruit now because they won back-to-back national championships. If we get on that same type of train, it's gonna be easier for us to flip guys and guys that want to be a part of that. By the way, it's Southern California. You got USC, one of the best coaches in the country right now.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, that's it. I'm kind of strapped for time, but I appreciate you guys letting me on and asking a few questions.
Oh man, we appreciate you being here. Thank you so much again for your support, and hope you call in next week. Have a good one.
Sir. Fight on.
Hey, fight on.
Right on. All right, we got Jackson Johnson. Hey Jackson, I'm keeping USC J here a little bit late. You got a question for us?
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask y'all about the snub of Bear Alexander. What was your take on that?
I just think that although he has all the potential in the world, he didn't have a lot of opportunity playing on a Kirby Smart defensive line that's stock full of NFL players. Just the fact that he actually got onto the field for the amount of snaps he did is a testament. Sold a lot of people that know football that there were a lot of other players that could have been shifted in when injury happened, and they needed the guy to step up, and they put Bear in there. I think it shows you how much Kirby had for him going forward. It shows you his potential because, again, when you think about defensive line, you think, at least me, you think of one school right away. And if you're getting if you get reps as a true freshman on that defensive line, it doesn't really matter. No one ever remembers the preseason list, right, JT? No one remembers that stuff. They remember at the end, were you an all-conference, were you an all-American? And I think that if this defense, because it's not just Bear, it's the guys around him. Who are you going to double team? There's going to be so much talent on that line, and Jamil Muhammad coming off the edge. It's just going to be this guy's going to come loose. You let one of these guys come loose, you better have a backup quarterback warming up because there's going to be some trouble.
Right. And I think when you look at Bear Alexander too, of course we know he is his penetration was crazy, but when they vote these, you mentioned the snub, when they vote these guys, it's out of mostly production. So the production has to be there as far as the numbers in order for these guys to get on that list. And automatically we think Georgia, he coming from Georgia, but the production wasn't there because of Georgia having so much of a powerful line. They have some massive guys. And I think Bear, if I'm not mistaken, I think he played on first down and third down or something. So he wasn't just in there all the time. So it was a snub from the perspective of coming from the SEC, but it wasn't a snub from the perspective of actual numbers.
Right. Because, I remember doing a show with Matt Zimich several weeks back, and we went into depth about how the USC defense is going to improve a lot. And Bear Alexander being added was one of them. And when I saw that list that Alexander was snubbed, to tell you the truth, I was none too happy because I'm like, good Lord, Bear Alexander, really? You're not on the list? Oh, well, he's going to show you guys in 2023.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I am. Thank you again, as always, Jackson. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the retweet. I saw that on Twitter. Always appreciate you supporting the show. Roll Tide, and hopefully,
Roll Tide, man.
We'll see you at the end of the year. Okay.
I'll be seeing you.
All right. Thank you.
All right, my man.
And Hank, I got you back there, but apparently you didn't pay your electric bill or something because it's saying his device is not connected. So I don't know what to say. I'm sure you're going to bring a lot to the conversation, knowing how you are in chat. I was going to bring you on, but it's saying literally device is not connected. I'm not sure if you figured out how to use your computer or whatever, but appreciate your attempt, Hank. Always enjoy your trolling and that. Well, actually, I don't. But thank you for being here and your support of the show. Jay, speaking of thanks, I called you the last minute to come on in and join the show. You're awesome. I just have one more thing to get to, and I've been doing this, pretty much every week since we started. And this is week. Geez, what is this? Week 21 of the show, and we're still in a situation where the people over at the NCAA haven't figured this out, and it's all over. I keep seeing more and more stuff pop up. Oh, no, one more thing. Sorry. Also, our friend Tony Altimore shared this recently. This should answer questions to anyone. So anyone out there asking me if I'm afraid or I'm concerned about joining the Big Ten, there is no doubt. I'm excited about joining the Big Ten because there's some great programs in there. Michigan coming on strong the last couple of years. Ohio State's, I've always said, definitely always has the absolute highest floor of any program in the country, always there in the mix for a national championship. New coaches new coach in Fickle at Wisconsin, and then you're picking up Rule at Nebraska. Obviously at Iowa defense. I go on and on and on. Penn State. I'm excited, but really, this Tony, you did a great job here explaining that since the history of the Rose Bowl, the game really shows you the dominance of one side or the other. It really has been a one-sided affair for USC. And I had to defend USC. Okay, so let me say this one more time to people in the Big Ten. USC plays its home games at the Coliseum. We don't play our home games at the Rose Bowl. We play, if you average it out, we play a half a game a year in the Rose Bowl. That means once every 2 years, we go to the Rose Bowl. There is the same equal allocation of tickets. So it's 50-50. The both teams get, to fill up the Rose Bowl with their tickets. And I'll tell you, most of the team in most years, Big Ten teams travel very well, and there's a number of your fans here in Southern California, so it's not an issue. And the last thing is, it's not jet lag. Don't give me this flight stuff. They're out here for the entire week. You come on out here. You enjoy a week of festivities. Both programs enjoy a week of festivities, and you guys are here for that too. So can you please? Sure, I'll give you a slight advantage, but certainly not a 25-9 advantage that USC has over Ohio State. Any thoughts, USC J?
No, and I think those who've been with USC for a while, they pretty much know that history. Matter of fact, I think I brought that up on a show a couple of months ago, talking about the Big Ten. The USC is very familiar with all Big Ten, most of the Big Ten schools. I think it's only one school they might have not played. I'm trying to remember if it's. Hey,
Michigan State's tied with USC. Otherwise,
I'm sorry. Yeah, they're tied with them because I did a whole little deal on them. Yeah. Michigan State's the only school, but other than that, the success rate is just unbelievable with most of the Big Ten schools.
Yeah, USC has winning records against the rest of the Big Ten, including the teams that were added. So yeah, I'm excited. And just one more time, Charlie Baker, I just want to tell you this one more time. It's getting embarrassing for you. You need to do something about the Reggie Bush situation. You just got to give the man back his trophy. So for USC J, I'm Tim Prangley. Thank you guys so much. Again, we know you have lots of choices on a Sunday night. Thank you all for being here, and everybody, bye, Don.